Stop the heavy breathing. Stop the heavy breathing. Ho, ho, ho. Ho, 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 ho. Ho, 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 ho. Season's greetings. Season's greetings. Is anybody there? If you're there, don't be shy. Say hello. Unplanned Saturday pop-up. It's a few days before Christmas, so I figured we'll make it a Christmas pop-up. So if you're on here, say hi. As always, let me know, can you hear me? And then we'll get started. Oh ho! There we go. There they come. Hello, Peter. And Stanlow Wickets. Is that right? Afternoon, James, Ronnie. You can all hear me. You can all hear me. Just give me a signal. Peter, you say you can hear me. Hi there, Rebecca. You can hear. Fantastic. Yes, but not for long though. Can hear you. Oh, hello, Lee. What do you mean not for long though? Meaning you can't be on for long or you can't hear me for long? Don't confuse me. Ho ho. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Hello, Frank. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you wherever you may be in the world, and welcome to the live 2023 unplanned Christmas live stream. Tender boy, hi. You say you can only hear me in your left speaker. Okay. You show off. So you've obviously got stereo going there, haven't you? Let me see if we can fix that. How about now? There we go. You should be able to hear me in two speakers now. There we go. Sound is fine. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. Peter, you say you have lots of snow there in Slovakia. Oh, you're from Slovakia. Well, I'm, for those of you who don't know, I relocated to Tallinn in Estonia. And I've never seen snow like this in my life. It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Will Elkema, hi from Poch. Oh my God. All the way from South Africa. Hello, brother. Peter says stereo now. Woohoo! There we go. Tendo boy, thank you. Kevin Holmes, hello. Merry Christmas to you as well. Tonal Axis, merry celebrations. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so I assume we can, obviously you can all hear. I want to just say welcome to this unplanned live stream. It is December the 23rd, 2023, and it is exactly 35 minutes past 6 here, local time in Tallinn, Estonia. So I think this is probably quite a good time to do it. I think in America, depending which coast you're on, it's probably sort of like early morning for you there. If you're waking up from a hangover, I am welcoming you. All right there, Richard. Merry Christmas, geezer. Hope you well. Chris Von Rudolph. Hello, brother. How are you? Still waiting for my cheesecake. Haha. Shout out to Chris Von Rudolph. Possibly one of the biggest Mesh fans on the face of the planet. And I will see you in one of our shows, Chris. I'm sure you're coming to all of them. Under Dark Skies. Hello. Happy Christmas. Regular face there. Good to have you here. Okay, so what's been happening? A lot has been happening. For those of you who are members of my Facebook group or follow me on Facebook, you probably saw this pop up today. Aha. Isn't that a beautiful sight? Well, not me, but Alan Wilder Recoil In-Depth, March 2024. Now, a lot of you have been asking me since the day dot, since we started this channel, please could we do an in-depth series on Recoil? And I've decided to do it. Now, without giving too much away, if you've been following my channel, you'll know we've done the in-depth Depeche Mode album review series. And we're currently on Songs of Faith and Devotion, which is running on my watchvg.com members-only site. You can join up there if you'd like in-depth videos and longer videos than the videos you see on YouTube. And they're more detailed. I swear a little bit more. And also we can play music in the background. We don't have all the restrictions that we do have in YouTube. So that is all on watchvg.com. So the Songs of Faith and Devotion album review series is now running on watchvg.com. But I'm pleased to say that I'm going to be making those episodes available on YouTube as well. They'll be slightly shorter, and also they will be there won't be any original music in them, because YouTube, every time you play a video on YouTube and you have original music, it gets censored, so for copyright reasons. So that is just my way of showing respect to the YouTubers who've followed me and supported me. But if you do want to take my content a little bit deeper, you can join watchvg.com. And also, I've got some great tutorial lessons coming up, including my what I call my layman's keyboard method course, which is coming on there, which is a course which teaches you how to play keyboards and piano, learning from me, who's never had a lesson in my life. So yeah, that's a great place to check things out. But coming back to this exciting news, the Alan Wilder Recoil In-Depth series starts in March 2024. Now, if you're familiar with my Depeche Mode review series, this will be pretty much in line with that. But I do want to be doing a lot of interviews with people who were involved in the Recoil series. I've already spoken to Steve Lyon, who you guys saw. I did an interview with Steve Lyon. Look on my YouTube channel for Songs of Faith and Devotion Steve Lyon interview. You should see it there. And yeah, Steve Lyon was very, very gracious. And Steve Lyon obviously was very instrumental in not only Violator, Songs of Faith and Devotion, but also he worked with Alan on pretty much all the Recoil stuff. So I'm looking to fly back to the UK and do some in-depth interviews with Steve Lyon. Fingers crossed, you never know. I know. Could we speak to the man himself? I don't know. I think if ever we did get the chance of speaking to Alan Wilder, I think it would be the end of this channel, because that has always been kind of like the hope. People are always kind of hoping I can do that one day. And I guess if we ever do get the chance to speak to Alan, it would almost be like, there's nowhere for me to go now. I'll just shut the channel down. Anyway, this is the channel that coined the phrase fanboy alert, and we wear it as a badge of honor. But it's all good fun. I see a lot of you joining in. Say hello. Let us know where you joining in from. And yeah, make yourself welcome. Where are you? What you're doing for Christmas? Let's make a few shout outs here. So, I also just want to make a shout out and an announcement, official announcement, about something very exciting as well. For those of you who know, for those who've been following me, I have been recruited by Mesh, the electronic industrial. Careful, I think Richard's watching, and I don't think Richard minds what I call it as long as I don't call it synth pop. But yeah, it's difficult to always define your own music. But Mesh obviously recruited me. I'm a permanent member of the live band now, and we have got some shows coming up. First one is on the 19th of January, and that is at the Grand, not the Grand National. It's called the. Let me get this right. Oh God, what's it called? Help me out here. It's in Scotland, and it's called not the Grand National. What the Grand National is a horse racing event. What is it called? The Classic Grand. There we go. Sorry, my brain's not connected yet. So the 19th of January, you can see us live at the Classic Grand in Scotland. We're then at Rebellion on the 20th in Manchester, and on the 21st at the Garage in London. So they are going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, we're doing some of these shows in Europe as well. And this is all part of the Mesh Legacy Tour, which is kind of like I wouldn't say greatest hits. Sorry, Rich, I know you're watching this. But yeah, it's basically a kind of a recap of all the, of all the periods. And Mesh have been going for a long time. And so anyway, here's that trailer. There you go, a short little trailer. And tomorrow on my YouTube channel, I'm currently running a very in-depth Mesh series. The first episode was called Inside Mesh, and it featured interviews with the band. And then I also ran a in-depth Geek Talk series, which was basically in their studios. And tomorrow is part 3 of that Geek Talk series. The first Geek Talk was with the singer Mark. The second one was with the musical genius Richard, and the third one is tomorrow, and that is with the Sean, who we call the Drum Maniac. And that you can see that live on the Vaughn George YouTube channel tomorrow at 6 p.m. UK time. So yeah, if you're a Mesh fan or getting into it, I know I'm happy to say a lot of fans from this channel or followers from this channel have found Mesh through this channel. And of course, me joining Mesh has been very, good for helping people find my channel. So it's been a very, very good, a very beneficial and positive union, or a good meshing, as we should call it. So yeah, if you're at a loose end in January, come and see us. We're playing in 3 UK shows: Scotland, Manchester, and London. And I know there's been a bit of people have been contacting us and asking, why aren't we playing in Leeds, and why aren't we playing in Bristol? And I actually got a bit of I think some people were very upset that we weren't playing in Bristol, because Bristol's kind of like Mesh's hometown. But anyway, we've got the 3 shows on, and then next year we're in we're doing some European shows as well. So yeah, check it out. Tickets available at mesh.co.uk. Right, if you've just joined us, this is the unplanned pop-up live stream 2023, today being the 23rd of December. And we're just running through a few things that are happening in the channel at the moment. And of course, the breaking news, which we've just released this morning, was the Alan Wilder Recoil series, which I'm going to be running on my channel. Now, it will go into a lot of detail, pretty much the way the Depeche Mode album review series did. But it's going to be, I think there's going to be a lot of tech talk in this, and I do want to, as I say, I would like to go and see Steve Lyon again regarding this, because he engineered he engineered this along with Alan. Recoil is very much I guess Recoil is really much it's a real sought after type of taste. It's not really everyone's taste. I think a lot of Recoil just washes over most people's heads. I don't think they get it. It's just very often, I've often said that Recoil to me is it's almost like the music for music producers. It's kind of like when you've made a record, you reference your record next to Recoil, and your record will always sound crap when you play it next to Recoil because it's just that. So anyway, Recoil is really just like a sonic journey of Alan Wilder obviously was the sound of Depeche Mode. I think what people missed when they listened to Recoil, from what I've heard, is some people, I think they missed the sort of song structure. Now, of course, Martin Gore would provide the song structure, and Martin's a great songwriter, and then Alan would, take Martin's songs. As Martin said, Alan was like having a school teacher who could check your work, and so yeah, I think I've been quite vocal on the channel as to say that. I don't think Depeche Mode ever were as good as they were without Alan. Sorry, I'm going to just say it. It has pissed some people off, but hey man, I speak my mind. Yes, and I can see it, fanboy alerts all over here. Yes, fanboy alert. It's been a while. I've missed being on here. So we're going to come back with full force next year with fanboy alerts, off-topic chickens and everything. And once again, for those of you who've just joined, if you've noticed the Depeche Mode album review series, you probably noticed it kind of ended after Violator. I do have the episodes available now. It started again on watchvg.com, but I will be releasing the episodes on YouTube as well, in slightly shorter format. And there are certain things I need to do when I release things on YouTube. For instance, on this album review series for SoFad, I do a lot of analysis of the songs within my DAW. For those of you who aren't musicians, a DAW is a digital audio workstation, and I will analyze the songs. I can't do that on YouTube because of copyright reasons, and that is why I've got the sort of the meat and bones of everything is at watchvg.com. But of course, if you don't subscribe to watchvg.com, I'm sure you'll be pretty satisfied with the versions I'm releasing on YouTube. Right, anyone got something funny to say? Okay, no sound on the trailer. Oh, okay. I probably hadn't pushed the button. Push the button. That's fine. As long as you got the info, that's fine. Also, I'm flying out to the UK in January to do the mesh shows, and then we're doing the mesh shows on the 19th, the 20th, and the 21st. But on the 22nd, because on the 21st we're playing Mesh in London. Mesh are playing in London, so I'll be in London. And then on the 22nd, I'm going to be going to the O2 Arena to see Depeche Mode as part of their Memento Mori tour. I shall be going with Rob Rom from Depeche Mode Global. Shout out to Rob Rom from Depeche Mode Global, who I met for the first time this year. Really good. It was a really good laugh, and but it was so rushed when he came down the last time. It's good that I'm going to be in London a bit longer. He's going to be in London a bit longer, and we'll have some time to sort of hang out. And we are planning to hopefully put together a sort of like a live hangout in London somewhere. So we're just trying to find a venue, but we'll give you the info on that as soon as we have it. Okay, I see. Peter says he was a bit disappointed with Subhuman. Yeah, something we don't want to segue completely into Recoil, but the interesting thing about Recoil is a lot of people say, oh, they love Recoil, and then when you plod a bit deeper and you say, which is your favorite Recoil album, they can't tell you, and then you say, what's your favorite Recoil track, or they can't tell you, and then you kind of tap them on the shoulder. You go, you haven't listened to it, have you? And I think I often get people sort of asking me if Vaughn, if I want to listen to Recoil, what should I listen to? And of course, me being fanboy number one, I'll say listen to all of them. But I think there and in this album review series, I do want to sort of point out which albums I think you should start with, because there are some that are sort of easier to listen to, because towards the end he really seems to examine the sort of concept album thing, and it's not pop music, of course, but it is very, very, very good. I often think that, I suppose, no spoilers. We're going to go into a lot of detail on the Recoil album review series, but I think Bloodline is kind of like the Recoil album that I always say to people, okay, if you want to get into it, listen to Bloodline. That's a good starting point. And I think Bloodline is probably one of the favorites, fan favorites, I think. And then of course there's like the track, what's that one, Faith Healer. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's not segue into it, but yeah. Matt Such at Stuff is your name, has asked, have you heard of Camouflage? The Great Commandment. Yes, I've heard of Camouflage. And I'm sure if Camouflage would be annoyed that I did that, because they're probably thinking, we've done more than just one song. It's a little bit like when people go, oh, do you know Depeche Mode? And then they go, I just can't get enough. But yeah, Camouflage, yeah, still going strong. And Camouflage, I haven't analyzed that much, but certainly everything that people have shown me from Camouflage, I've enjoyed. So Gary Walker says hi. Hi, Gary Walker. Tony says, did you go to the Newman acoustic shows? Nah. Sorry, Gary. I think, and I mean no disrespect by it, it's just, I was intending to go, but there was a lot happening. But I always make a point to go and see Gary every time he plays. But I wasn't really too excited about the acoustic show. And to be fair, I follow Gary Newman on Patreon. He has a Patreon page, and he comes onto that every few weeks, and he does like a Q&A and stuff with the fans. And if you listen to Gary kind of talking about the acoustic shows, he doesn't sound that thrilled about them. Not in a bad way. He doesn't diss them, but some of the questions in those Patreon Q&As had fans asking him stuff like, now that you've done this acoustic type show, does any of this acoustic approach inspire you for the new album? And Gary just point blank said, no. I think, as Gary said, his next album will be even more anthemic. It'll be even harder. I think with Gary, he's always trying to push the frontiers of how hard can I make this record? How anthemic can I make it? There's only that much space you can have in a record. We learned this as newbie producers. You've got to strip things away instead of adding things to it. But Gary always tries to add as much as he can. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. He's very good at it. But there's nothing minimalist, and there's nothing laid back about Gary Newman. And we do love him. Right. Rebecca says, have you heard of Ultra Sun? No, I haven't. You can drop a link and I'll have a listen. Problem is, these days there's just so much stuff out there. It's like, wow. And the problem is as well, I think we miss out because of this wall of noise that's coming at you. I think we often miss out on the good stuff, because very often the good stuff is kind of hidden in the sea of noise. Have you heard of IMAX? Yes, I have heard of IMAX. Yes, I have heard of IMAX, and it's very, very good. I think my mate Simon Forsyth, shout out to Simon, he kind of put me onto it. I'd heard of the name, and then when Simon and I were, when we were traveling somewhere. I can't remember if it was Synthfest or to go and interview Steve Lyon, but he was playing IMAX to me. And yeah, it's very, very good. Very, very good. Very, very high quality stuff. Okay, so what are you doing for Christmas? Anyone doing anything interesting? Or are you just staying at home? Right. Sorry, I had a bit of a glitch there. So just to recap what's happening next year, which is not long from now. As I say, I'm flying to the UK. We're going to do some mesh shows in January, and then at the end of April and May, we're back in Europe to do some more shows. We have the Alan Wilder album review series starting, and we are going to be continuing with the Depeche Mode album review series. As I say, some of those first episodes have been released on watchvg.com, but I will be releasing edits of those here on YouTube for those of you who are not members of watchvg.com. So yeah, I've got my work cut out for me. Once again, repeating myself, but to those of you who, just to put the rumors to rest. Put the rumors to rest. No, I'm not ill. I'm in good health. Thank you very much. I just took a lot of time out from the channel because of moving and stuff. And of course, we did the Depeche Mode book, which Brian Griffin and I self-published. They have all sold out now. And if you did manage to get one of them, actually, I'll just grab it. This is the deluxe version, which came in a box, and it also comes with the Black Celebration print. But we're extremely proud of this. So I do get messages, well, pretty much every day. People asking me to put them on a waiting list for the next pressing. There seems to be a rumor going around that we're going to do a second pressing and there's a waiting list. We've never said that. This was always meant to be a one-off project, and it was. So if you did get one of those books, believe me, you're holding a piece of history there. It was a very very difficult project to do, especially with the logistics. Brian and I had like a manifesto, as I said last time. We decided we were going to do it all ourselves. I guess I was paying homage to Depeche Mode when they did Black Celebration. They said we have this manifesto. We're going to sit in the studio for 3 months, every single day until it's finished. And so Brian and I adopted that approach for this book, which was, once the stock comes, we're just going to sit in this room and just dispatch things. And it was hard work, but at the end of the day, when I see the joy that it's brought to everyone, you can't put a price to that. It's been very successful, and I want to thank you all for getting behind it, because if it wasn't for your input, then it wouldn't work. So thanks very much. James says he's looking forward to 2024 and what's to come. Thanks, James. I will be keeping you guys updated with live streaming. Is going to be a good part of this channel now as well. I'm thinking, I don't know how you guys feel. You can leave your comments below. I'm thinking of Saturdays for a live stream. Live streams are quite good. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll probably announce the live stream rather than just popping up. So possibly Saturday live streams would be good. Also, I have said as well, I am planning to do some more meet and greets this year. Well, not for me really. But maybe with Gareth Jones and Brian Griffin, in different cities in Europe. As you guys know, in the UK this year and last year, we did a few events with Gareth Jones and Brian Griffin, and we had people traveling from all across Europe, America, Canada, all across the world really, to these events. And Gareth also did the Construction Time Again deep dive where he analyzed all the stems. So we obviously tried that in the UK because we just wanted to see what the interest would be, and as we, and the interest was good, and those events were successful. But the hunger for Depeche Mode seems to be very, very big in Europe and massive in America. My God, especially like in California and those places. So we are looking to, roll these events out. Also, I mentioned this last time, and I got some great feedback from you guys. Thank you very much. One of the questions I asked was, I've been getting a lot of requests to release a a Depeche Mode instrumental, piano instrumental album. And this whole thing of the piano improvisation thing, I mean, that was never a plan. It's just when I started my channel and I started when I was analyzing the Depeche Mode albums, if you take a song and you listen to it, I would play it on the piano because I'd say, okay, I want you to focus just on the song, because you guys know I have access to all the the keyboard parts, or a lot of the keyboard sounds, and I would play those, and that's all very impressive. But then I would take a song like, I don't know, Behind the Wheel, which is very electronic, and then just take away all those iconic sounds and then just play it on a straightforward piano, so you're only focusing on the melody and the songs, and that became like a thing by default. That became the thing I did on this channel, and so just in demonstrating those songs, people would always say, "Oh, please, could we have an instrumental piano album?" And I went, "Okay." Well, I never said okay. I always just brushed it off. But I've thought of it now. I've had great time to think here in Estonia, where the air is clean and there's less drama than in the UK. And I've thought, I would like to do that. That would be, I think, you guys asked for it, and it's something that I would enjoy doing. And then the question I put to you guys was, what do I do? Do I do it on an album by album basis? Meaning, do I do like piano interpretations of, Speak and Spell, and then A Broken Frame, and then Construction Time Again? And I got some good advice from one of the subscribers. Forgive me for if I forgot your name, but one of the subscribers gave some great advice. He said, instead of doing it on an album by album basis, just release your first one as your favorite Depeche Mode interpretations, and then see what the feedback is, and then after that release an album by album basis. Yes, so that's great. That is something I will look at doing. You guys know, with all my albums, I always release them on vinyl if I can, and CD. Well, CD, I'm lying. I've only done one on vinyl. Forgive me, I'm speaking crap. But I always like to release my stuff on hard copy. But these particular things will not be done on hard copy. They would only be released on Spotify, and because the license required for doing a hard copy thing is just too expensive. And I just saw Rich Silverthorn from Mesh. Hello, sir. He's correcting me. he says it's IMX, not IMAX. Yes, that's right. It is. Now you see, this is my weakness. This is why I'm best when my content is filmed and then edited. I'm not really good going live, because very often I'm talking here and I feel like I'm just a lone guy in a room here. There's no one here. But as I'm talking here now, I'm realizing, oh my God, you can all see me, and if I speak bollocks, I can't edit it out. So yes, thanks for that, Rich. It's IMX, not IMAX. I beg your pardon. Okay, let me come back to some of the comments here. Yes, James is talking about Daniel and Gareth. You got Gareth and Daniel to sign your copy. Yeah, how many of you went to the Vince Clarke live performance, and how many of you went to see them at the interview at Rough Trade? A lot of good stuff happened just as I left the UK. But don't worry, I will be back. And while I'm at that, there's been mixed reviews on Vince Clarke's new album. I've listened to a little bit. I haven't listened to it all. But it's exactly what I was expecting when I say that I'm not trying to be a smart ass. It's just some of the fans were going, "Oh, we don't like this. It's too what's the word?" Some people called it self-indulgent. But I think some people, I think some of the fans were expecting an Erasure album, and I just knew it wasn't going to be anything like Erasure. I mean, I love Erasure, but I knew this was, just looking at the photos, the promotional photos which came out first, I knew this was going to be nothing like Erasure. It was going to be I expected something more experimental. And I shall listen to it in more depth and then possibly review it. Right, let's see who else is on here. Carla Valderes Sanchueza. Oh, sounds like a celebrity. Sorry, I've just pronounced your name so wrong. But that is like a celebrity name. Anyway, forgive me. My family sings karaoke for Christmas. Any songs you recommend? Well, I'm personally not a big karaoke fan. But yeah, any songs I recommend? I don't know. Go on and surprise me. Under Dark Signs is saying Mesh songs. There we go. Flying the flag here again. Question. Here's a good question here from, is it Tendo Boy? He says, do you think you're going to do your album review series with until Memento Mori? Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people have asked me that. I mean, I think with the album review series that I started, they started off with, if you looked at the first one, Speak and Spell, it was 1 episode. Then we went on to the next one, I think Construction Time Again, it was 2 episodes. And then each series got longer and longer. I think Violator was it 15 episodes, 15 parts? I mean, I don't know, in hindsight that was a good thing. So I think this is exactly why we've got watchvg.com, because watchvg.com is now the place for, for those of you who really, really want the really in-depth hardcore stuff. God, that sounds bad. Cut. I mean, you guys that want the meat and the bones. And I think YouTube is where I would release versions of the album review series where, you get more detail than other channels, I feel. But, we're not going to, because I think like with the Violator album review series, we really, really, really went into excruciating depth. And of course, me being a big critic of myself, every time I watch things like that, I go, not that I watch my previous videos, but I always think, we could have probably gone more in depth. But certainly, for those of you who are on watchvg.com, you will notice that the first episodes I've done of the Songs of Faith and Devotion album review series, I had Andy Marlowe. Shout out to Andy Marlowe. He's my friend and my mix engineer. He was in, and he's an amazing bass player, very good guitarist as well. And he analyzed the bass part for Walking in My Shoes, and some of the guitar parts. So it was good to get Andy in for that. So, we sort of up the ante on every single series. I mean, I'll be honest, and I'm honest, and I don't care if my honesty offends people, because who was it? Was it Jimi Hendrix who said? He said the problem with the world is I think it was Jimi Hendrix. I think he said something like, I would rather be disliked for being honest than loved for being fake, or something like that. But I'm very passionate. I'm very passionate about Depeche Mode up until sort of Ultra. I think the last sort of album I really liked of theirs was Ultra, and then there was that Only When I Lose Myself. I think that was great as well. I do know that as soon as I heard, what was that? When your bony fingers close around me, what is that? Exciter. Yeah, when I first heard that, I was like, it took me so long to get into that. Actually, I've mentioned this as well. I think it's about a year ago, I opened up Exciter and listened to it, and I heard stuff that I never heard before, meaning I heard it in a different way. So listening to Exciter now, it is better to me than I can remember. And sometimes things are like that. You just need to step away from them, for a while and get back to them. I have obviously done my initial reactions on Memento Mori. I think Memento Mori is definitely the best album they've done in a long time, which I'm glad about. Spirit, I just don't even recognize that. And some people get pissed off if I say that, but I don't care. So yeah, I think the album review series will run. They'll be very in depth up until about Ultra, and then I'll probably I'll finish it by just doing more sort of like album reviews rather than in depth stuff on the latter albums, because I'm not incredibly passionate about them, and I've sort of learned this with this channel is it's not to talk about things that you're not incredibly. You've got to be very passionate about what you talk about, I find, and otherwise you just can't bring value to the stuff. But once again, my disclaimer is that's no offense to you if you like the post-Wilder Depeche Mode albums. You know, I'm not saying I don't like them. I've got them all. The funny thing is Depeche Mode have this thing. Every time they release an album, I buy it. You know, I don't listen to it first. I just buy it. I'm a huge fan. But then again, you know, who am I to knock them? Right. Mark Newwave says, cheers from Germany. Das ist gut, ja. How you doing, brother? Thank you for all the support. Germany's been such a big support, not only for my channel, but for Mesh as well. And Germany's been very, very big on a huge... I don't know what it is about Germany. It's just like a huge... there were a huge support for Germany... for Depeche Mode as well. Interesting, as you guys, if you watch that in-depth series I've just done with Mesh, with Mark and Rich, and one of the questions I asked them is, why do you think Europe has embraced your music, particularly Germany, more so than the UK? And it's interesting. It's interesting how things like that work. And I think certainly the few shows I've done in Germany, I can see what people mean when they say it's great to tour in Germany, because I just think the music industry, the music scene in Germany and Europe as well, I just feel it's more, how do I say this? It almost seems, I won't say more diverse, but it just seems more welcoming. You know, I lived in the UK for most of my life, and the music scene there is just very up its own arse. It's very like, I don't know. It's like if you look at what the mainstream pushes there, it's this certain type of sound, and you almost get to feel if you're an artist above 23 years old, you're washed up and had it. You know what I'm saying? That's not the case in Europe, and it's not the case in Germany. So I don't know. I don't want to get onto a UK bash at the moment, but now that I've been away from the UK for a while, I've realized I'm a lot happier not being there. Oh shit! This is live. Can't cut that. No, I'm not ashamed to say that, and I'm not slagging it off. I just think, for me personally, I'm speaking from my own perspective. Certainly for what I'm doing, and I just think Europe suits me better. But yeah, that's just me. Right. Let's see what I've been rambling here. What you beautiful people have been saying. The question is, did you get the chance to check out what Curlian Camera? Excuse my ignorance. Is that an artist or is it a piece of gear? Peter Makala says, by the way, Electronic Cafe, which you well know, interviewed Vince Clarke. Yes, shout out to the Electronic Cafe. I'm very proud of them. Yes, they've done Andy McCluskey and stuff, and Vince Clarke. Some great interviews. Electronic Cafe really, really bring a lot of. They really go deep into the electronic artists, and Andy and Mark are doing a great service to electronic music. They really are. Yeah. Mark Newwave says Vince's album got an amazing feedback so far. Yes, it did. It did. There were some, as I say, mixed reviews from people, because I think some people were expecting an Erasure album. But certainly what I've heard so far, I'm very impressed. I mean, Vince Clarke to me is, I don't know, he's just like, I hate to use the word genius because it's a word that's kind of overused, but I think it's hard to be an electronic music artist and not be a fan of Vince Clarke. You know, he's up there with Kraftwerk and those guys, really, in his own way. He's an absolute pioneer. You beat me, Electronic Cafe. I'll see if I can interview Mr. Clarke as well, if he's got any, if he fancies it. I would love to interview Andy Bell from Erasure. Andy Bell from Erasure. Don't ever let me take you for granted. You've got your finger on the pulse of my soul. I love his deep voice. Hello, Andy Bell from Erasure. Yes, Andy Bell from Erasure. I would love to interview you. If you're watching, Andy, I would love to interview you. Right. We're really going off topic now, aren't we? James says you went to the Vince Clarke show but knew nothing about the Rough Trade event. Yeah, I think, and Gareth Jones was doing the support at that. I was gutted that I couldn't go to that. Well, I could have, but it's just I had left the country, so Here's someone called Who Cares. What a great name. Who Cares says, greetings from Germany. Grüß Gott. Hello, Germany. He says, would like to thank you for the amazing Depeche Mode picture book you shipped me. Oh, you are very welcome, and I'm glad you got it. Because here's a question, actually. I don't want to get sidetracked here. We had a lot of problems with Germany, not Germany, the postal services. We ship our stuff with Royal Mail, and then what happens is when it gets to the destination country, the local shipping, the local postage service of that country will then take over. And unfortunately, Germany have lost a few of our books. Some of the books have come back, and the reason I think I'm quite hard on Germany is because I've always been I've always like flown the flag for like German, efficiency and like the best gear, the best cars. And I think I kind of hold them to a higher standard. And I'm going like, what's up with the German postal services? They're just losing all our books. But anyway, bit of a question in that rant. I don't know. Are you guys having problems with your postal services there? But within that, I don't want to blame Brexit. I don't want to get all political here. But of course, we've been shipping stuff to Europe ever since I started the merch store with Brian. And I'll be honest with you, since Brexit started, things have been a nightmare. It's been very difficult to get things to Europe. Before Brexit, sending something to Germany was as easy as sending something to England. You just popped it in the post. Now there's customs declarations, and it's an absolute nightmare. But just some good news for you guys is now that I'm based in Europe, for those of you who've been buying some merch and CDs and stuff here, I've been sending them from here, and they've gotten across very quickly because they don't have to cross the channel anymore. So yeah, just there is a question in that. I don't know if you guys living in Germany have problems with the postal services there, or is that just because it's coming from us here? Is that more just like a communication link between Royal Mail and the German Post? I'd love to know. Right. Sorry, that was a bit off topic. Question from Mark Newwave. Did you ever use the Synth Monster Access Virus TI synth Aid Fenton did endless programming with? If you're talking about the Access Virus TI, yes, I actually used to have one. I used to have the keyboard version. I must have sold it about 8 years ago, and regretting I sold it because I was in a bit of I needed the money, but I didn't want to sell it, but I needed to at the time, but I wish I hadn't, because I do love the Access Virus. Rebecca says, I love Free Love from Exciter. Yeah, it's quite funny. I did hear a it was leaked somewhere. It was Martin, I think at that time, was in the middle of his sort of like alcoholism. He used to drink a lot, and there is footage out there with Martin actually in the studio recording Free Love, and it's so funny. It's so funny. I'm never going to play it on my channel because I don't want to, out of respect for Martin, I don't want to highlight a difficult period of his life. Even it's quite funny though when you hear it, but I don't want to highlight it. Yeah, but that footage is out there. It's a studio recording of Martin in the studio singing Free Love, and it's obviously one of the engineers obviously leaked it, and it's quite funny. You hear him going, let's make it clear, this is free love. And he's like proper pissed. Anyway, it's hilarious. But that was something that should have not been leaked. That was something. But anyway, it was leaked. But love you, Martin. Still one of the best songwriters of our time. Mark Newwave, you're saying the virus, Access Virus TI. Yes, I had I had the Access Virus TI, the keyboard version. Gary Walker says, I agree with the UK music scene. Most live venues are not interested in traditional rock lineups and tribute cover acts. Thank you very much, Gary Walker. Now, I'm going to jump onto... in fact, I'm going to do a video on this one day. I grew up in South Africa, and when I got to the UK, I was a little bit disappointed because, yeah, you know, you live in South Africa and we look up to the UK and you sort of look at things in a different way. And then you get to the UK and you go, well, what's the big deal here? You go into a music venue. Unless you're playing... Here's the thing. When you're in the UK, if you're playing on a big level, like if you're playing Shepherd's Bush Empire or things like the Astoria, which is now closed, or the Garage, or if you're playing at that level, or or like the O2 Academy, or not to mention the O2 Arena, but if you're sort of playing on those venues, or like Brixton Academy, those venues that take like say 1,500 to 4,000 people, if you're playing at that level, then they're pretty good. I know when I was earlier this year, Mesh, we did Bristol, and then we did the O2 in Islington, and that was a very, very good gig. I mean, as I said, I've never performed on this level before. I've never gigged on this level. So when you're gigging at that level, things are fine. But if you're an artist sort of playing smaller venues, it just really sucks in the UK, because from what I saw in Germany, it's very different. They really, really take their music seriously. They take their artists seriously. And here's the thing. I've done venues, and I've seen venues in the UK. You go to the UK and you're going to perform there. So you show up at the venue earlier, and these are sort of like smaller places. I'm not going to name and shame anyone here, but maybe I should. So you go in there, you get there early, and you go, oh, can I speak to the sound man? And they go, there's someone behind the bar who doesn't give a fuck. And they're like, oh, and they point at someone. So you go over to the sound man, and the sound man's very often the barman, and he doesn't give a fuck because he just hates his job. And, the microphones smell like beer, and it's just like, oh. And you go in there, and it's just like, oh, can't you just take pride in what you do? Can't you? Oh. So that's definitely my experience of the UK gigging scene. It's like, unless you're gigging on a Mesh level or higher, then most of the venues are they're just shit. And I don't care saying that they are shit. And it's just lazy, and there's no excuse for it. So that pissed me off, because coming from South Africa, before that, I haven't spoken much about this on my channel, but I used to do electronic music live. I used to go by the name of N Unison. I know it's terrible. It seemed like a good idea at the time. It was kind of derived from my surname. And I used to do like electronic dance music based, sort of like Robert Miles, that sort of like piano trance. And I used to go to clubs, and I'd play live, and I was well treated, and they had good sound systems and everything. So I expected more from the UK. But when I got to the UK, I was like, it's no good. So once again, just to finish this segment, I think, and I want to do a video on this really, because I mean, I can speak with a bit of, not authority, but I've lived in the UK most of my life. And I can say that once again, if you're playing in a band, if you're playing at a certain level, it's fine. But if you're sort of, playing on smaller venues, trying to make a name for yourself, it's very difficult. And I always say shame on you. Shame on you to those venues. I really hate it when these places offer a service and they can't be asked. So shame on you. Doesn't seem to happen in Germany. In those places, they seem to be really, really passionate about their music. Just to paraphrase what Mark and Rich from Mesh said, they both said the same thing in their own ways. They basically said that it seems as though the music industry in the UK was often sort of like dictated to us by sort of Radio 1 and those kinds of institutions, whereas if you look at in Germany and stuff, or Sweden, a lot of those places, they've got like these real sort of it's very diverse. Like they have these scenes. I'll give you an example. When we just played with Mesh, we just played Plague Noir in Germany, and that's like a gothic festival, but It was massive, massive, absolutely massive. Lots of fake blood and guy liner and makeup and all that. But you know something? I could not believe how well organized it was, from the catering to the logistics to the sound. Everything was just so well done. And I thought, in the UK you don't have that facility. You don't have a facility to get like 22,000 goths in a field, because we just don't have that. And just answering, just to elaborate on one of the comments I got in the chat here, it's very true. The sort of live music lineup thing is not very big in the UK. I think they're going more for like the DJ kind of thing, and without pissing DJs off, yeah. There's a lot that I can say, but I'm not going to say it here. But yeah, you're not a musician, you're a DJ. Oh, I said it. It's different though if you're a DJ like Norman Cook or someone like that who's also a producer. That's different. But yeah, I'm getting a bit ranty here now, so don't egg me on. Okay, so Tendy Boy has answered. He says, yeah, our postal services are very bad. And okay, so it's so I wasn't imagining it, was I? Not your fault. It's just very difficult when a man like me, who's so passionate, wants to get your product to you, and it gets thrown over the fence, or it gets eaten by the dog, or it comes back to me and it's crumbled. Breaks my heart and it pisses me off. But please know that it's not me. Right, Mark Newwave says, do you agree that Gary Newman Me live version from the Mosh Cam is absolutely the best version? Oh, I don't know. I'd have to look at it. I don't know which one you're on about. But yeah, I know the song, but I don't know which version you're on about. But yeah, I mean, Gary Newman does put on one hell of a live show. I mean, you can't take that away from him. Who Cares says, for most German, yeah, DHL is okay. Yeah, I've learned that the hard way. DHL from now on. Mark Newwave, pity you sold it. Yeah, you're probably talking about the Virus TI. Yes, I'm regretting that I sold it. Peter says, I would like to go back in time and visit the... I can't read that, mate. Sorry. Sorry. Nice Alien. Nice name. Nice Alien says, I like Music for the Masses album, especially Never Let Me Down Again, Split Mix, and Violator album. Piece of art. Just music gem. Brilliant, to my opinion. So Fad was the last true DM album. I think there's a lot to be said there. I think a lot of people will agree with you. But once again, with the Depeche Mode catalogue, it's amazing, because I've never known a band where so many fans can like the same thing, but can be in such stark disagreement on which the best albums are. So, hey man, and it's all good. Lee Newcomb says Shepherd's Bush is one of the best live performances. Yeah, Shepherd's Bush is good. I like venues like that. I like the Brixton Academies. There was Hammersmith Apollo. The Hammersmith Apollo. And just forgive me because they keep changing the name sometimes. I think it was called the Carling Hammersmith Apollo, but you guys know you know what I mean. There was the Hammersmith Apollo, Shepherd's Bush Empire, yeah, Brixton Academy. I like those venues. I like the Garage, and I also like the O2 Indigo. I like watching bands in venues that size. I'm not a fan of the whole stadium thing, and I know I'm going to go see Depeche Mode now in the O2. In the O2 arena, is it the? Yes, the O2. That's about what is the capacity of the O2? It's massive though, but that's an indoor event. I saw them in Twickenham last time, and it was great. I mean, really, I cannot knock the logistics and everything. To put on a show that size, which is open and to project that sound. I mean, they did a fantastic job. But I always like a closed venue. You get more atmosphere, and the smaller the venue, better. Problem with Depeche Mode is they're just so big now. They're almost inaccessible. Most of us will never get to meet them. And the scale of it is just too big. It's not a criticism. It's just a bit like, whoa, you're on the stage and there are certain venues you watch them and they're like miles away and it wouldn't, you can't even see them if you're not looking at the screen. So yeah, I do like the smaller venues, Shepherd's Bush Empire and those kinds of things. John Barrett says, I'm looking forward to the Recoil reviews. Thank you, John. It'll be my pleasure to produce it. Frank Jorgensen. Hello, Frank. What do you think Tim Cinnamon's job, or what do I think of Tim Cinnamon's job on Ultra? He did a great job. I mean, Ultra to me was the last great Depeche Mode album. It was very, very good. It was an album that almost never got finished, because Dave was in an absolute state. As you know, it's well documented. But yeah, there was a real sort of like group effort to get that finished, because I think there was at one point that they decided, this was going to be a Martin Gore solo record because Dave was in an absolute state. And so, and just randomly, can I just say, I don't want to sound like a fanboy, I know, but can I just say that Dave Vaughn is like the best frontman ever in the genre? I mean, he is. I mean, bloody hell! I mean, I was watching a few videos of on my YouTube feed the other day of it was just playing random Depeche Mode live, and it's quite funny seeing him as he started off as a front man. But he used to stand behind his microphone. He did like that, all that funny sort of dancing and just to see how he went from that to how he became like this rock god. He was almost like Jim Morrison by the time he got to Songs of Faith and Devotion. Yeah, I mean, I think Dave Vaughn remains the ultimate front man, in this genre. Absolutely. Right, where are we now? Someone said Two Finger Fletch. That's a great name, yeah. Two Finger Fletch. I salute you, sir. I love that. Two Finger Fletch. Two Finger Fletch says Hamburg is the best in Germany. Okay. And just to finish on Frank, yeah, Tim Cinnaman. He's now living in Prague. I believe he's running don't quote me on this, please. I believe he's running I think he's got a chain there called Hoxton Burgers. He's running like a burger place. And so, now that I'm in Europe, I think I might go for a burger. A burger and an interview. How's that? Right. Oh, okay. Mark Newwave, you missed my Curlian camera comment above. Want you to do an interview with them, Geek Talk, as you did with Empathy Test. Do me a favor, Mark Newwave. Could you send me some links of their stuff to info@vorti.com? I'd be glad to check them out. Yes, please just send me some links. Thank you. Who cares? Says, for the engineer, Alan Wilder is the everlasting missing part of DM. Sorry for that. Don't worry. You're in good hands here with all the fanboys. Don't you worry. No need to apologize. John Barrett says, I saw Depeche Mode at Wembley Arena in 1990 with Electrode 101. Fantastic gig. Oh, and I want to make a shout out now as well to Forced to Mode. Christian and the boys from Forced to Mode. They are coming to London. And they're playing the Garage in London. It's on the 6th of January. I was invited to come along. Unfortunately, I do not live there. I do not live in the UK anymore. But as I say, I will be in January for some mesh shows. So it's a pity the timing's a bit off. But yeah, if you want to get a ticket, if there are any left, check them out. Forced to Mode are. I'm not a big fan of the whole tribute thing. I'm not talking about Depeche Mode tribute acts. I'm just not a fan of the tribute thing. I'm not looking down on it. I'm not taking the piss. I'm just saying, for me, I I'm just not a fan of the tribute thing. But these guys do it so fucking well. They sound more Depeche Mode than Depeche Mode do, and albeit they focus on the sort of golden era, and honestly, I think if you just look at it, I saw some of the promotional footage. Obviously, Christian has sort of modeled himself on the sort of 1992, 1993 grunge Dave, and my God. It's just absolutely uncanny. He looks just like him, sounds like him, moves like him, everything. So yeah, do check out Forced to Mode. Definitely the best tribute in the business as far as I'm concerned. Right, where are we now? There we go. Gary Walker says the O2 in London is 20,000 capacity. Thank you for that, Gary. I knew it was about that. But yeah, that's still a very big venue. So yeah, how many of you are coming to see Depeche Mode on the 22nd of January? Maybe we should organize a drink before we go. Comments below. Mark Newwave says Cologne has the most and best small venues in Germany. Always amazing. Yeah, but yeah. I come back to my previous rant about the UK. I think, and I know this. I can speak about this with some sense of knowing, because I know a lot of bands, like even my mate Andy Marlowe, who engineered my last few albums. He plays in prog rock bands, and he plays with bands called like Sons of the Tundra and Jadis, and these are prog rock bands, and they sort of play on the level, which the level I was talking about earlier. It's not big, but it has sort of like cult following. But if the kind of venues that they play in, those, I don't know if I'm explaining myself right, but the kind of venues that they play in size-wise, if they play in the UK, they're just not good venues. But you go to Germany and those places, the smaller venues are very, very good. Once again, I think if you're playing in the UK, unless you're playing on a high level, everything is just not very good. The venues are just very, very bad. And it pisses me off, because there are so many up-and-coming artists who need a shot, want to do it, and you go to these venues and they stink of beer. I like beer, by the way, but clean it off the fucking floors when you finish, please. And, a lot of those places in London are just fucking dumps, and there's no excuse for it. Right. John Parrott says, I went to Tallinn in 2017. Lovely place. I don't want to big up Tallinn too much, because I don't want the whole world to come here, but it's beautiful. Lloyd Soldat, hello brother, how are you? It's good to hear from you again. I hope you're well. I hope to see you at the next London event, or you can come to Europe if you don't mind traveling. Mr. Larson, good evening. Hello to you in Sweden. Frank, Forced to Mode. Frank Jorgensen says, Forced to Mode almost got a new homeland. Been touring Denmark. I see. Yeah. I see what you're trying to say. Yeah, they are. I think Forced to Mode, if you just look at their live set now, it's ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous in a good way. They have modeled it on the Songs of Faith and Devotion set. It's the same set. Anyway, it's mind-blowing. I'm sure I'll get to see them perform soon. Although I won't be able to make the London one, I'm sure now that I'm in Europe, it'll be easier for me to see them live. Right. Hufflepuff says, can you please do us a Nick Rhodes? Well, that's season's greetings from Nick Rhodes from Duran. How did I get involved with a band that had 3 unrelated tailors? But it's another story. Yeah, by the way, Nick Rhodes will be showing up a lot on the channel this year. Beware Duranis. The Duranis, I think they're called the Duranis. The Duranis have generally got a good sense of humor. I've had a few of them that have had meltdowns because of, don't insult Nick! Nick is a god! Don't insult Nick! I'm like, calm down, woman. It's only a joke. Right, let's see what else we got. We're going to end this soon, guys, because you probably want to hang out with your friends or whatever you do on Christmas, rather than listening to me rant on here. I'll take a few more. There we go. I hope you enjoyed the Nick Rhodes there. Was Frank says DM did 2 shows in Horsens Arena, Denmark, when they had some off days on the tour. The gigs were fab. Only 5,000 people per night. That's great. Yeah, to play venues of 5,000 a night. That's good. I just don't like going into these venues that are so big. Lloyd Soldat says I will be over. Yes. Come to the continent. Dimitri P says November the 13th at Chicago was a great DM best group. Hufflepuff says DM or Duran Duran are my favorite band ever. I don't mind a little bit of Duran Duran, the Duranis. Peter McCullough, can you smell the Baltic Sea there? Well, Tallinn is at the... There is a beach here. Yeah, we're at the ocean. I can't smell it from here, though, no. My nose is a bit blocked at the moment. Probably got a bit of a cold coming or something, but haha. Here's one from Mark Newwave. He says, who is Nick Rhodes? Midge-Ure couldn't stand him. He said, what a prat, 1985. Well, that's not very nice to call me a prat. That's hilarious. Right, here we go. Forced to mode, but not tonight. Very, very good. Agreed. Henry Lee, yes, love your Nick Rhodes impersonations, especially those S sounds. Well, that's the problem when I talk. I think I need a de-esser. A de-esser. He does have quite a sibilant S. Well, and that's the thing when you're impersonating people. And please, I'm not giving advice because my impersonations suck. I know they do, okay? But that's part of the appeal is when you impersonate someone and you're not quite right. That sometimes makes it funnier. The funny thing was Mark from Mesh, sorry. He just laughs because sometimes we're sitting in the backstage and then I sometimes jump into these impersonations. Like one thing I said, hello, I'm Nelson Mandela. And Mark always goes, I'm glad you put the name in there because my impersonations are so crap that if I don't go, hi, I'm so-and-so, you won't know who I'm impersonating. But anyway, that's always part of the appeal is when you're not quite there. And that's my excuse because, I'm not trying to be a stand-up comedian here. Right. But yeah, Nick Rhodes will be a regular on the channel more frequently with lots of S's. Right. Do you like the Prodigy? They are electronic legends. Oh yes, absolutely love the Prodigy. Have I not? No, I don't think I've ever done any video on the Prodigy. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, I do love the Prodigy. I really, really do. Right. Sophie says, have a Merry Christmas. I'm looking forward to a lot of things next year. And when Alan will release new remixes, we may have a chance to get some comments to it. Thank you, Sophie. I appreciate that. Peter Mahler, first time I heard someone say, I need a, I need a de-esser. Yeah, we could probably do a video where Nick Rhodes gets a de-esser plugged into his backside or something, and he's anyway, this is like the 3 o'clock in the morning drunken chat. I should be careful. This is going to go up on YouTube. Right. And that's it, my friends. I think I'm going to leave you to it now. I just wanted to pop up and wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas for 2023 as we wrap this up. quick question. Yes. Sorry, I'll just. Robert says, "Will you ever start a? Will you ever? What? Will you ever appear on Pro Synth Network?" No. Yeah. No one ever contacts me for stuff like that. So probably not good enough. But yeah. Yes, and Mark, please send me the Curline camera. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I'm interesting to hear it. Look who's woken up. Technomatic saying good evening from Estonia. You're late, Mister. I'm just about to sign off now. But we're going to end this with the recap. I want to just thank everyone that has supported this channel, and to those of you who've just joined, know that a lot is going to be happening over the next few months. It's all very, very exciting. Just to recap on a few things, I announced this morning, the Alan Wilder Recoil in-depth series will be starting in March. And how many episodes are there for that? Well, it's a bit like when I did the album review series. I don't actually cap it and say it's going to be this many reviews. It can be as long as it wants to. So it'll be interesting. I want to, in that series, I want to do some interviews with people who were involved with the production of it. And say we'll pop down and see Mr. Lion again if he's up for it. And I really want to focus in on the Recoil albums and show them the love and respect that I think the Recoil project has been kind of overlooked by a lot of people, and that's not to say I can, bring more awareness to it, but I would like to talk about it because I'm passionate about it, and if I can bring some awareness to it, for some of you, I'd be happy to do that. So there's that, the Recoil series, the Songs of Faith and Devotion album review series, which is now up on watchvg.com at the moment. I will release shortened. When I say shortened, they won't be. I won't take the piss. They'll have all the meat and the bones, but they will just be lacking all the sort of like copywritten stuff that we can't get away with on YouTube. So you'll still get good value watching them here on YouTube, and that is my gratitude for you, for being here and supporting from the beginning. Yes, and of course there'll be a lot more. Of course, Mesh content will be coming. That'll be a big part of the channel now because we will be on tour next year for the legacy shows. And then I know Mark and Rich are in the studio at the moment working on the next Mesh album, and I do have the privilege of being sent some of the demos to give my 2 cents worth of input, and the standard is incredibly high, and if you're a Mesh fan, you're not going to be disappointed. I can guarantee you that. That's it, my friends. Thank you very much. I wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. Check out, sign into the on the Vaughn George YouTube channel tomorrow, 6 p.m. UK time. On Geek Talk, we've got the third segment of the Mesh Geek Talk interview, and this one is with drum maniac Sean Sulman, the brilliant drummer for Mesh, where he will explain to us how it is that he drums within Mesh. There's a lot more to come. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Make yourself welcome. Join the Vaughn George Facebook group if you want to be a part of just a really, really good, close-knit community. And I want to thank you, as always, from the bottom of my heart for all the support and love you've shown me and this community. I wish you and your family and your loved ones a blessed Christmas. And watch this space. It's going to be very, very exciting. I love you loads.